Building infrastructure and maintaining and expanding and controlling infrastructure allows for a people to become a community locally and a nation nationally. Now, who could possibly question those words? Of course, you need infrastructure in order to build a nation. Power through basic infrastructure is the ideology of our subject today. Genesis. Who is he? What is he doing in Africa? And should African continentals be wary of his presence? Well, that's what we're going to try and answer in today's video. Hello and welcome to another day in paradise, and welcome to another edition of the Unapologetic Negropian in today's video. So by now you guys know that I'm not adverse to asking questions which make people feel uncomfortable, and today is no exception. Today I pose the question: should African continentals give over their natural resources into the hands of African Americans? So we're going to find out just how real those rumors are that Genesis wants to take over Africa using African Americans and use the resources for themselves. But first, I'm going to ask you to please like, subscribe, share, click the bell notification, and please consider supporting the channel on Patreon, link in the description. And this question is a fundamentally important question, because when you look at it from the outside, when you look at what the African Americans have achieved over the last 400 years, whilst under duress, it cannot be questioned that there is something special about them. There's something that they have which most other African ethnicities don't have. God knows it pains me to say this, being British and being of Jamaican origin, but the African Americans just have something that we don't. Okay, so when you put that into consideration, and you put into consideration that they had no resources, and you look at what they've built and achieved now with themselves, astronauts, physicists, scientists, they seem to have a never-ending conveyor belt of professionals who are achieving way above their means, coming out of some of the darkest places in the United States. Now, can you imagine putting trillions of dollars worth of natural resources into their hands? What could they achieve? It really does make the mouth water. They could easily build a superpower with their abilities. Now, there is one person who thinks this way: Genesis. So who is Genesis? Genesis is a Pan-Africanist who is a former veteran of the US Army. He runs the geopolitical organization BAIO, the Black Africa Infrastructure Organization. This man stays true to his words, and as you can see, he's not just a person who goes around talking the talk. This guy walks the walk. He has a beautiful librarian, okay, yeah, that's better. Sorry, I keep getting that wrong. And actually, this time, I'm not exaggerating. Take a look at her. She is beautiful. Genesis doesn't believe in African unity. He doesn't believe, like the other Pan-Africanists, that diasporans and continentals should get together and somehow join hands and swan off into the future together. He genuinely believes that diasporans should be able to come back and have complete self-determination. He believes that it's manifest destiny that African Americans should be able to come back to their own country, ran by African Americans, and be able to control the resources, not just within the country itself, but throughout the African continent. He calls this foreseeable future nation Africanistan. Yeah, there you go. Africanistan. So he believes that African Americans should be able to come back to this country that he will build almost like a micro-state, like a principality, like Monaco, like the Vatican, you know, a country that is ruled just by them. And then from there, they'll be able to negotiate with other African countries in building projects like China's Silk Road, for instance, that will bring in together a network of African countries for the betterment of Africanistan. I've spoken to a number of African continentals, and some of them don't take this man seriously. And I say that they do that at their own detriment, because I believe that this man is a strategist. He's a person that doesn't run around chatting about himself. He doesn't have a YouTube channel, and those types of people are normally the people you need to be keeping an eye on. Although he doesn't have his own YouTube channel, he does have a proxy channel in the Search for Uru. That is Prince Dynasty Mia's channel, and he's always on there. This is the reason why many African continentals don't trust Prince Dynasty Mia. They believe that everything you see on the outside, him wearing his dashiki, praising Nigeria and praising Africa, they believe that this is just a front. They believe it's a front so that he can infiltrate other organizations, other nations, build up trust with them, so he can be in front of the line to be the ambassador for this future country, Africanistan. On his radio station, Kala Nation, Kala Genesis stated that his organization is non-militant. And let's be frank, many countries now don't take over pieces of land by using blunt force. They don't use their military to take over the land. So he's not stupid. He doesn't need a military to take over Africa's land. The one thing you won't see Kala Genesis do is run around telling people that they need to move to Africa, come to Africa, move to Ghana, buy yourself a house and have a better living here. He doesn't care about that type of stuff. He's not that type of Pan-Africanist. He doesn't believe in that. He's more of a Garveyite. He believes in the words of Marcus Garvey. He believes that African diasporans should have the right to have their own country, not set up by the Americans, so not like Liberia, their own country. We're going to have total self-determination, and from there we can plot and plan to take over the whole of Africa. No, he's never said that, okay? He's never said that he wanted to take over Africa. But this is what I'm saying. Many people believe that he is the king of the Garveyites, that he believes that African Americans are superior to African continentals. He doesn't believe that anyone and everyone from the diaspora should just come back and come to this new country. He wants the best of the best scholars, the best minds, the best scientists, the best doctors, the nation builders, the world movers. He wants these type of minds to go back to this country and help build the country from the bottom up. Now, of course, he doesn't run around telling people that he wants the African diasporans, mainly the African Americans, to come over to Africa, build their own country and just keep the rest of them out of it. He doesn't speak in this way. But we know this is exactly what these Garveyites want. This is exactly what Kala Genesis wants. Kala Genesis has given up on African continentals. He wants nothing to do with them. All they want is their own rule. They want to rule their own people. And what I mean by their own people, I mean other African Americans and to some degree other African diasporans. So he's doing things covertly. He doesn't want to alert the African governments, the African countries of what exactly he planned. His plan is to essentially plant the seed so that Africa one day can be in the hands of African Americans way into the future, 2, 3, 4 generations from now. To keep their purpose pure, they have that one ideology that they stick to and never waver from. They don't care about the people of Africa, although they say they do. They don't. All he wants to do is take the land and have that for diasporans and African Americans. Can you trust Kala Genesis? Well, I would say that if you was an African American and you are not a true Pan-Africanist, I would say yes, you can, because he is doing all this in your benefit, because clearly in the future, if he does manage to build this Africanistan, this country which has a group of African Americans self-determining the future of all African Americans, almost like in Israel. Yes, you can. If you're a true Pan-Africanist, then no, you can't. Because the reality is true Pan-Africanists want to work with the African continentals. People who follow carlogenesis are mainly African Americans who are angry. They are angry about the fact that so many African continentals are ignorant of their story. They are very angry about the fact that so many of the ancestors of those people that sent us over, me included, being a African diasporan of a descent of a slave myself, over to the Americas. And a lot of people are angry about that. They believe, especially African Americans, they believe that, hey, the reason why we are in this state, the reason why all this happened, well, you are the reason, because your forefathers put us in this situation. They took us from our land, they took us from our children at times, and they put us into bondage and made us work for free for hundreds of years. You're responsible for that. And this is carlogenesis's pure motivation. This is what he wants. This is what drives him. Purpose. His purpose. When he talks to Dr. Arikana and he talks about building this Wakanda city, ears prick up and start to listen. It's not like this JT, the bigger figure, or the midget king, RJ Mardi. This person is serious. He is serious, and this is the reason why most African continentals need to be aware, and not just be aware, because a lot of you are aware, but you don't take him seriously. You don't take him seriously, and you should, because this man is no slouch. He's not stupid. He knows what he's doing. He's working under the radar, and he knows and studied the way the Europeans have done so. Many people don't understand the way the Europeans have managed to keep a hold of all the land in Africa. They still own it. They still own it. They made their money out of our people, they made it out of our land, and then used it to buy the land off chiefs, so they still own it, and they didn't have to pay that much money for it. And this is why a lot of diasporans try to distance themselves from African continentals. They are so angry about this that they don't even want to know. They just want their own people to be around them. Carlogenesis may turn around and say that he is a Pan-Africanist. He may lie until he is blue in the face and say that he loves African continentals. Garveyites will always say that they love African continentals when they don't. It's the opposite. They hate them. They hate them. And I hate whoever hates African continentals. It's really that simple. There is no grey area in this. In order for us to progress, we need unity. We shouldn't be fighting African continentals for that land. Carlogenesis doesn't like African continentals, and he has gone on record to say this. And I've been searching through his videos, his lives that he has done with Prince Dynast Emir, and I can't find it, but I've got it written here. And this is what he said in the fourth quarter of 2019. He doesn't believe in African people. African immigrants are an impediment to ADOS. Those were his exact words. He doesn't believe that Africans and African diasporans can work with one another. A lot of African continentals, they believe that this is so as well. Now, a lot of people say that I'm talking rubbish because he does have an African continental wife. But if you're really smart, you will know that that doesn't mean anything. Of course, there are people out there who dislike certain groups of people who end up getting married into them. Carlogenesis has a loathing for African continentals. that he is struggling to hide, that comes out every now and again. Perhaps African Americans are cut from a different cloth. They know what they want, they know how to get it. They are looking over to the African continent and they're saying, you know what, take a look and see what you've done. We're still the poorest continent on the planet. Perhaps you should give us the reins for a couple of 100 years, see what we can do. Let's kick out the colonialists. Let's kick out those African leaders who are purely infused with lining their own pockets, about building their own wealth personally, and they don't care about those people whatsoever. Let's kick them out. Let us take control. Let us take control. We know how to nation build. We can build a powerful nation which in turn, in some point in the future, can exact revenge for what happened to our forefathers 300-400 years ago. Let us take the reins so our children no longer need to dig up diamonds in the Congo. They can go to school and they can get education for free. Let us build this infrastructure. Give Africa and give Africans the future that they deserve. However, we are going to determine it from our satellite nation right there in West Africa. Perhaps they should do that. Why shouldn't they? Because African continentals should also have the right to their own self-determination. However painful it is to watch these leaders, like the leader of Guinea-Bissau, going out and buying a new Bugatti. I think he has 5 of them now. They're over $1 million each for a car, whilst his people are starving, literally starving. This man, this disgusting man, is purely in it for his own wealth. These people need to be taken out, because these people have been put there happily by Western governments, and you and I both know this. Who's going to take them out? If the African continentals can't take them out, who's going to do it? Well, the answer to that question is we need to do it. And when I mean we, I mean both of us, both continentals and diasporans. Clearly, unity is extremely important. So guys, what do you think? Do you think we should trust Carla Genesis with the future of Pan-Africanism and Garveyism? Do you believe in Carla Genesis? Do you believe that he is the type of person that can be trusted? Are you an African continental who believes that perhaps we should hand over the reins to an Obama-esque type American, black American, to rule your particular country? Do you believe somebody who has come from the West, brought up in a different environment, can take over the reins of your country and distribute its wealth better? Do you believe that African Americans are a completely separate entity to all African continentals and should not be trusted under any circumstances? Let me know in the comment section below. It'd be really good to hear what you have to say about this. So that's all I have time for today. Guys, my email is still down, so I'm sorry. I will put up a new email in the bottom, in the description, if you want to get a hold of me. So I'm sorry about that. So guys, once again, thank you for watching. I want to give an extra special thank you to my Patreon members, and I will see you in the next one. Until the next time, please think twice. Ta-ra a bit.